Hey, deal makers, welcome to the show where it's all about financial freedom with real estate. Let's do this. So in today's episode, we're talking with Kevin Bupp, and he is my go-to guy for mobile home parks. I have him on the show every couple of years, checking in on him. That's exactly what we're doing, and checking on the mobile home park space and how things have changed and what his outlook is there. But also, we're talking shop about how he's running his real estate business, operations, raising capital, finding deals. It's really, I'd like to say, the same thing but different. It's just in a different niche. So I was really enjoyed you talk, kind of see what behind the scenes, what it's like to grow a company. And he's also self-managed as well. He's vertically integrated. So we talked a lot about that. And at one point that made sense. Really interesting to look behind the scenes of a larger real estate firm. Before we do that, I'm going to do a huge shout out to Darren Steele. Darren joined us and worked with us. He got started with duplexes and single family rentals like so many of us, and then figured out he couldn't scale fast enough. So he joined our mentoring program and immersed himself in multifamily space and just closed his first deal, 56 units in North Carolina. So congratulations, Darren, on your first deal. And if you are also interested in potentially working with us and our experienced team so that you can not only do your first deal but become financially free, then go to thefreedompodcast.com, and there's a place there for you can actually schedule a call with us and explore what that might look like. Also, if you're interested in passively investing, our investment firm is called Nighthawk Equity. Again, go to thefreedompodcast.com and you can actually schedule a call with Nighthawk as well. So check those out for next steps. Either way, lead to financial freedom, and we'd love to help you get there. So with that, let's bring in our co-host, Garrett Lynch. Garrett, what's going on?
What's going on, Michael?
Hey, I want to talk to you about kind of how our financial plans evolve over time. So for me, when I still was in my software job, my goal was to earn as much as I can and get raises every year. Then this company went public, and then my goal was to have as much money in my brokerage account until 2005 when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. All that changed, and I was hardly earning any kind of passive income, and everything shifted for me. And I no longer really cared about my active income and what I had with Morgan Stanley, and everything shifted to how can I invest these things to generate passive income. Really threw me for a loop. And I'm just wondering for you, how did your financial goals or objectives change over time?
Yeah, so even from early in life when I was selling knives until like my early 20s, I was pretty much everything was commission or transactional. So if I wholesaled a building, I'd make a commission, and that was taxable. And then if I didn't sell something, I wasn't making money. And so that was stressful, but I was good at it. I can still sell, but I realized that if I didn't have a good, sales month or whatever it was, wasn't really making any money. And then I got taxed on top of it. And so I kind of shifted into, oh, if I own property and I can get that to happen, then I'll have not only will I make a commission typically on the front side, but I'll own the property along the way, build equity, and then I'll also have tax benefits on the other side. So I'm really going to be making money in three ways versus just one. And ideally, I can chip away at the tax bill that I have at the end as well. And so that was huge for me. Once I kind of realized that, I went all in into ownership. But then along the way, I had another kind of pivot where I thought, well, the end game for me is, just I'm going to go to a beach, live on a beach, and drink Mai Tais every day, and that was like my vision of what that might look like. And so I actually got bought out of my company when I was 29, and I tried it. I went to a beach in Australia, and I sat there for a couple of weeks, and I drank Mai Tais and did whatever I wanted, and it was terrible. I was miserable
Yeah.
with that experience. It was not what I thought it was going to be at all. Because I wasn't producing anything to the world. I was just consuming, and I was just bored. And I'm like, this is just not me, right? And so that was the biggest shift for me. But then I was on kind of a different trajectory after that. I'm like, okay, I still, no, regardless of how wealthy I get, I need to continue to do stuff, or else I'm gonna lose my mind. It's not about that anymore, right? So it shifted quite a bit over time.
I had a similar experience in a couple of ways. One is I flipped 3 dozen houses, and it was also transactional, and I made good money. That's the problem, but it wasn't really in passive income. So I went from, okay, I replaced my W-2 income with now real estate income, which was better, but it was a lot of work. And so it pivoted again for me. Is like, man, I really want passive income. And I thought about building a rental portfolio, but it's a lot of work to get that done. And that wasn't very passive either. And that's when I accidentally discovered apartment buildings, which has this great mix because you get paid acquisition fees up front, then you get paid cash flow and fees while you're holding it, and then you have a profit at the end. That's really the ideal mix. And you can build a very large portfolio with a relatively small team. So all those things really appealed to me. It took me too long in life to figure it out. Another person that really scaled a business was Kevin Bupp, and really talk about what he has done there. Not so much, we did catch up on the mobile home park here, but really kind of behind the scenes look at how he has scaled his company, his operations, his acquisitions and deal capital. And it's always good to catch up with Kevin. He's steady, man. I mean, I've had him on like twice now over the last like 8 years. He's steady, and sometimes I think people struggle with shiny objectitis, where it's like the strategy of the day, or this one doesn't work and this one's hot, and so we pivot and shift, and it seems a bit boring. Kevin, what's new? Nothing, right? Meanwhile, he's probably built up $1 billion worth of mobile home park real estate, and I think a lot of people don't give it enough time. They really they stop and they pivot to something else, and Kevin just demonstrated that sometimes you just got to stick with it and really, really get good at something.
Yeah, I love the fact that he spent years learning about the other asset, the parking garage, parking lots, or whatever. That took a lot of time and patience to get to a place where he felt comfortable, even though he was thinking about it nonstop, right? So I love that he spent time learning it, learning what he had to do so that he felt comfortable purchasing these with investor dollars. And I think that's a really good lesson in general. Yes, it's you want to get over the hump and purchase an asset, but definitely not at someone else's expense of you learning the ropes of something. So I really appreciated that.
One of the reasons I didn't get into mobile home parks, or maybe you did as well, it's not my style. I just don't enjoy the idea of owning them. And there's a second one also, and he brought it up today, because there's not a lot of third-party managers. Now, multifamily in a country, in a city like Atlanta or Dallas, there's dozens of them. Right now, again, is there a perfect property manager? No, but you have some selection. So the mobile home park people, the few I know, they're always to have to self-manage, and I didn't want to do that. And this is really one reason I like multifamily better as an investing class to get into.
It reminds me a lot of, I mean, just thinking back to like the D class days on my end. I mean, not these aren't exactly that. There's not, I don't know how much crime there is in some of these spots, but you've got a lot of, similarities. It's nuanced. So, you have maybe low paying uh, renters, or you have, you're in an area that just doesn't have a lot of people. There's just different aspects to it that make it where you have to self manage, like you said, and so you're tied into that other business no matter what. And I've seen people that have done it and they try to third party or whatever it is, and they can't figure out the systems, and they're not good at it, and they've gotten smoked. And so it's not an easy asset class to go into. It takes time, and you have to really understand it and spend a lot of time in what you're doing to really master it. And so it's cool to see someone like Kevin who has done that, and I'm sure he's produced some pretty good returns for everybody. So
He has. No
yeah,
question. So that's why we like multifamily best, and to encourage you, if you want to scale your real estate investing, to take a hard look at multifamily versus rentals or flips or Airbnbs, things of that nature. Check out all our resources we have here and educate yourself, and we'd love to help you get to that next step. So here's a financial freedom, Garrett. Talk to you next time.